Emily Harper, a high school teacher from Colorado Springs, had been dreaming of this vacation for months. Arizona's desert trails, warm sunshine, a break from her hectic life. Everything was perfect, or so she thought. But as she pulled into her driveway after a long drive, an unsettling feeling crept over her. Something was off. The front lock on her door was brand new. She didn't remember changing it. Her porch light, too, was different, brighter, unfamiliar. When Emily stepped inside, the house looked strange. Too clean, too perfect, as if someone had staged it for a photo shoot. There were no signs of her personal touches, no clutter, no warmth. Inside, the house looked too perfect. The couch cushions were fluffed, the rugs vacuumed, the kitchen counter spotless. Like a display home. No signs of her personal life, no scattered books or coffee mugs. Just staged. Someone had been here, but why? And what were they hiding? On the wooden dining table sat a plain, unmarked folder. No color, no design, just a single typed line on the front. Routine inspection, authorized by HOA. Emily frowned. She'd never signed any such notice. No emails, no letters, no warning. Her heart beat faster. Had someone been watching her? Monitoring her? This folder was more than a notice. It was a message. Emily's hands trembled as she connected her phone to the backyard security camera. The footage loaded slowly, revealing two men dressed in dark jackets with official-looking patches. They entered her home 4 times in 2 weeks, always silently, always careful. They didn't steal anything. They didn't touch a thing. But they watched. Every room, every movement, every moment. Emily swallowed hard, realizing she was not alone, and that someone didn't want her to know. Fear gave way to determination. Emily contacted her neighbors discreetly, one by one. She found 6 other women, all living alone, all with the same mysterious routine inspection notices. Rachel Nguyen, a soft-spoken artist, had vanished without a trace over the past week. No calls, no messages, no answers. Emily's chest tightened. This was no coincidence. Something was terribly wrong. The moonlight barely reached through the blinds as Emily sat in her dimly lit living room, the tension thick in the air. Her fingers trembled slightly as she held her phone, its screen glowing softly in the otherwise dark room. The clicking sound of the window echoed in her mind, amplifying every beat of her racing heart. She could barely make out the outline of the man as he moved, deliberate and quiet, almost as if he had done this before. His figure was hidden by the shadows, but his presence was unmistakable. Emily knew she had to remain calm, but her instincts screamed at her to run. Instead, she pressed record on her phone, knowing it was the only chance she had to prove what was happening. She could see him now, adjusting his hoodie, gloved hands working quickly as he tried the door, testing the handle. His eyes scanned the area, unaware of Emily's silent watch from the other side of the room. Then, as quickly as he had come, the man turned and melted into the darkness, vanishing as if he'd never been there. But Emily wasn't fooled. She had seen him, and now she had evidence, clear, undeniable proof that someone had been watching her, stalking her in the quiet of the night. Her fingers tightened around the phone, and a cold realization settled deep within her. She wasn't safe. Not anymore. As the seconds ticked by, Emily knew one thing for sure. She had to leave, and fast. But where could she go? Who could she trust now? The city, her home, no longer felt like a refuge. With the recording safely saved, Emily took one last look at the empty, quiet street outside. She wasn't alone in this world anymore. Not in the way she used to be. The scene unfolded early the next morning, as Emily stood in her living room, her eyes glued to the police officers entering the house. Their hurried steps and serious expressions sent a shiver down her spine. She knew something wasn't right, But the truth was more disturbing than she could have imagined. After hours of questioning and investigation, the police uncovered the truth. The two men who had appeared in the footage from her back window weren't just random intruders. They were private contractors, hired covertly by none other than Carl Benson, the HOA president. Carl had insisted to the community that the men were conducting security sweeps, a routine measure to ensure safety in the neighborhood. Inside his garage, the true horror lay: waiting walls covered in surveillance monitors, each screen showing different areas of the neighborhood, including Emily's own home. On shelves and desks, there were folders filled with photos, videos, and detailed notes about the women who lived on the street. As the police took Carl into custody, Emily's thoughts raced. The fear of being watched, of having every moment of her life recorded without her knowledge, settled heavily in her chest. What had started as a strange, unsettling experience had turned into a nightmare that for Emily had just begun. The arrest of Carl Benson and the two contractors was swift and decisive. The police, acting on the evidence uncovered in Carl's garage, took them all into custody. The once quiet suburban neighborhood now rocked by the terrifying truth. Carl, the man who had been trusted to protect the community, had been the orchestrator of an elaborate surveillance operation, using his position to violate the privacy of everyone around him. The impact on the neighborhood was immediate. People who had once trusted Carl and the HOA began to question everything. Were they also being watched? Had their own lives been silently tracked and scrutinized? The sense of safety they had all taken for granted shattered. In the wake of the scandal, the HOA was disbanded and new leadership was put in place.